Hello and welcome to the Post Point Podcast. Today we're just going to be answering some broad questions. Today I'm joined here by Matthew J. Walker. And our first question is, what are you most passionate about? And who do you want to go first?
Me. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
You first.
Alright, what am I most passionate about? I think I am most passionate about filmmaking. I think I love the idea of kind of creating your own world and kind of having to be within your own universe in a way. I like the writing, directing, and acting process specifically about it. I think if I ever went to film school, I'd just kind of want to try everything in a way. Just kind of get a feel for all of the aspects of creating a film. But yeah, I think that's probably what I'm most passionate about, is like telling stories through film or photography. I do a lot of photography as well. What about you, Matt?
I'd say I'm most passionate about, I have a few things, so more than just one, but first and foremost, probably my faith. I am a Christian, but I'm not I'm not loyal to any particular denomination, just to the Most High Lord Himself. So that would be number one. But beyond that, I've always felt like I wanted to make a difference in this world. I never really cared that much about money, currency. I do, obviously, for my own future, want to make good money and things like that, so that way I can sustain myself. But beyond that, I've always wanted to make a difference. So I am passionate about politics. I'm passionate about news. I'm passionate about getting the truth out to people. And self-development as well. I'm trying to be a 1% better version of myself every day. So yeah, that'd be what I'm most passionate about.
Question number 2 is short-term and long-term goals. What are those for you? Or do you want me to answer that so it's not?
Yeah, we'll just go back.
All right, for me, short-term goals is just to... for me, my kind of goal is to get to California because that's where the main film industry is. But also, just I don't really know where to go in the sense of the industry, film industry in particular. You don't really need a degree in that stuff. And, there is film programs in Seattle that are still located in Washington that I could totally attend to. But I just kind of want to go to California because it's a new environment and I want to experience those new things along with that being where the main industry is. Long term, hopefully, long-term goal, if I get really lucky, I will be big and famous as a filmmaker, actor, director, and writer. That's what I specifically want to do, is acting, directing, and writing for films. I more lean towards the side of independent, Manchester by the Sea type of stuff. Her, things like that. But I would also want to do bigger projects. I don't know if I'd ever want to direct or be in a Marvel film in particular. Well, I actually want to be in one, but yeah. I don't think I'd ever want to write or direct something of that high caliber. I think my writing and directing would be more solely focused on independent filmmaking, and then acting would just kind of vary. I think independent filmmaking, you have a lot of ability to really dial in on a character, and with big film productions like Transformers and stuff, I think it's more of you're still acting, but it's not as personal, because you compare something like Mark Wahlberg in Transformers to Joaquin Phoenix and Joker. That's two different levels of acting right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's kind of what my long-term goal is. What about you?
Definitely, that's a cool goal. My short-term goal to begin would be, I guess, first to graduate college or graduate from college, get a degree, 4-year degree. Starting here, get my 2 years, getting the associates, save some money that way. And then the ultimate goal is to go to a university, I don't know, here within the state or maybe outside of it, get a degree in communications or journalism, and then go from there. I'm really passionate. I love writing. So this goes back to passions. I love writing. I love news, and I want to be in this position where I'm in broadcast journalism. Not like CNN or Fox News where you're just reading off a teleprompter, but something cool where you got your own little gig going on, and I want to just deliver truth to people and not be another fake news source, but rather be a real news source, and something that people can trust, and make my living that way, because I think that's my way. I think everyone has certain abilities that they can use to make a difference, and I think that this is mine. Just being able to communicate. I think I'm a decent communicator. So I think that'd be my route there. And then ultimate long-term goal, I guess, would be to start my own, I guess, news agency, news company, where I'd be, in the leadership position, and I could, I don't know. I've been in the workforce for a while now. I get tired of having to be in the having to answer up to an authority. I'd rather be that authoritative figure, I guess, and be able to push things in the direction that I want them to go in. And that'd be my ultimate long-term goal. And along the journey, there's always going to be little goals as well. All right, Vic, what is your favorite movie and why?
I kind of already brought this up prior, but I would say Manchester by the Sea.
More than Titanic?
Yeah, I think Titanic is like all around a good film and really good in a bunch of aspects. But going back to like independent film roots, I think Manchester by the Sea has like an all around like if I ever taught a film class, that's a film I would show because it has like great acting, great production design, great writing. Acting is like super on par. Casey Affleck actually won the Academy Award for Best Actor that year. And it also got nominated for Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay. So I think it's just all around a really good film. I think it dives into a lot of a really great issue, like the struggles that people might have. And I think Casey Affleck does a really, really good job with portraying this character who has to deal with a lot of grief and depression and just kind of going back to his old town. And I think the film does a really good way of just conveying... I don't know. I think the editing was really good too because like you start the film and you kind of learn some things. You don't really like Casey Affleck's character too much. He kind of comes off as rude and whatnot. But then like they start doing these flashbacks throughout the movie, and you start understanding why characters had the certain relationship they have with each other. And I think that was such a good way to kind of slowly like spoon feed the audience of like why things are the way they are. And I think it's a really good, just all-around film, and it's kind of one of my all-time favorites. Titanic is definitely up there too. Same with The Wolf of Wall Street. but if I'm going like based off of like getting all into like the little technical aspects of things, I think Manchester by the Sea. What about you?
I haven't seen it. Might need to watch it. I would say I don't really have a favorite movie. I would say right now though, the most recent movie I watched that I really loved and enjoyed was The Revenant. And I don't know, there's a recurring theme that my favorite movies either have Leonardo DiCaprio in them.
Titanic?
That's a great movie. or they're directed by Christopher Nolan, one of those two. But right now, my favorite movie I would say is The Revenant. I watched that again recently and really enjoyed it.
What about Inception? Leonardo DiCaprio and Christopher Nolan.
That's one of my favorites. I did watch that again recently, and I love that movie, but I've seen it so many times. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did The Revenant because I've only seen that twice. So I really enjoyed The Revenant. I love the music, the soundtrack in the movie. I think it's really great. Really fits the movie well. And I think the acting performance by Leonardo DiCaprio is amazing. And I think Tom Hardy played a really good villain. He always plays a good part in every movie. He's a great actor as well. And it was really great. I like the concept, how it's kind of back in like the 1800 like pioneer days and all that good stuff. And I thought it was really good. Had a good plot. You really get emotionally invested in the characters. And I thought that there were some beautiful shots in there as well. Like, I don't know where they filmed it. I think it was like Canada. I think they filmed in like Colorado as well and one other place. But beautiful scenery within the movie. It really makes you feel like you're back in that time period, which I really loved. I love movies that kind of give you that nostalgic feeling, even though you never got to experience it yourself. So that movie I think was really well done. And I think that he won an Oscar for that too, Leonardo. I think that was his first one.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable because he's played so many good roles. But Jack. Yeah, man. Or Cobb from Inception.
Yeah.
Or but besides that movie, I also love the Dark Knight trilogy, love Inception, love Interstellar. All great movies. But
all right, question number 4: if you could change something about the world, like what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's a lot of things that
narrow it down to one.
Narrow it down to one. A lot of things I would potentially change. I think the biggest thing that would make a huge difference is I wish that people could really listen to one another and not get so hostile or heated, and not characterize someone that has different ideas than them in a negative light, but rather see that as, they have different ideas, I don't agree with them, but I wish people wouldn't be so separated and wouldn't always be looking for what they have, what's different about each other, but rather look at what they have in common. And I see this issue all the time play out in whether it be politics, which I think is huge right now. There's a huge political divide right now, and I think that it's not good for our country, not good for any country, really. And I think that people need to, stop going so radical and stop despising other sides of the political debate, and instead start realizing that they have more in common than the politicians that they're advocating for. So, like, one person, for example, might be a huge Bernie supporter, and one person might be a huge Trump supporter, but at the end of the day, those supporters of each of these figures probably have more in common than they do individually with those people that they're those politicians they're supporting. So I think people need to realize that we have a lot more in common, and it's what we have in common that makes us strong. And I think that people need to start having a better outlook on humanity as a whole and on each other, and trying to be more neighborly. I think that's somewhere that we have really grown in a negative way in this country. We've gone away from being neighborly and friendly to one another, and created sides where there shouldn't be sides. We're all Americans. We should all come together and be one big family that has differences, doesn't agree on everything, but nobody agrees on everything. So I think that'd be one thing I'd change about the world. What about you?
What about me? If I could change anything about the world, itself, since you got more specific and within politics, I think probably have something for people who are like addicted to drugs or alcohol or something like that. I think it's really hard. Something that I've learned is that a lot of people who end up getting sober, by the time they get sober, is like kind of when they hit rock bottom. So they're like, okay, time to straighten up my act a bit. So they get sober, and it's kind of like, you don't really hear this a lot, but like typically when someone gets sober, their life is worse than it was when they were on drugs. Reason being is because now that they're sober, they kind of have to deal with all the withdrawal symptoms. Now their relationships with people are different, and they just kind of have to face the reality of like all the mess they've caused. So that's why people relapse really early on when they first get sober, because like that's kind of they have to face everything that they kind of avoided. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have to face the reality. They can't rely on the drug anymore. So I think I would try to, if I could change anything about the world, I would probably just like have more support or some type of thing that would help people get through that, I would say.
Absolutely, man.
Now, to lighten the mood and load a bit, what do you believe, Matt? Do you believe the Earth is flat or round?
I love this one.
Yeah.
I believe that the Earth is round. However,
I can't do this.
However, going back to changing the world, different sides. No, but however, I do think that the flat earthers have some great points. There's some interesting subjects, some interesting points they bring up. I'm not saying that I agree with them, but personally, I know one thing for certain. I've never been to space. I've never seen the spherical Earth myself outside of photographs and NASA imagery and these different things. So I mean, can any of us say conclusively what it is? No, we can't. So unless you've been to space, which I doubt any of our viewers have been to space before. In which case, if you have, let me in on how you did that, because I would love to go and experience that for myself. But so I think the Earth is round, just based on I guess I haven't really looked too much into the science, I guess, but they say like, there's all these different things proving the curvature of the Earth, and we have NASA photographs, so I just kind of go along with it. But flat earthers do have interesting points. And yeah, what do you think?
All right, Eddie Bravo. I think.
Are you Eddie Bravo?
No, you're Eddie Bravo.
I said the Earth is round.
No. What you were saying was just like, I haven't seen it, so I don't believe it.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I think that's a good way to look at things to an extent. I think.
Yeah. like I said, I believe the Earth is round.
I believe the Earth is round as
watching
well
this
too.
podcast. Yeah, but they do have some interesting.
Like you can't go to Antarctica. I think that's a little bit
that
weird.
is weird, and there's also mutual agreements between governments that like if anyone like tries to venture to Antarctica, like you're going to be stopped by a military blockade. And the flat earthers say that's because there's like a giant ice wall that holds all the like the water in on the planet, and that it encompasses the flat Earth, which I think is weird. I'm not saying it's true, just saying it's an interesting concept. It is weird the government's all agreed on that. They say it's because it's untouched by man. I don't think that that would be the thing that would cause nations to all come together, our enemies to come together in agreement. But there's other I guess things that flat earthers say. But I don't subscribe to the flat Earth. I am a round earther, if you will, spherical earther, which is interesting. But what do you think, Vic?
Yeah, I think it's round.
Is space real?
I think that space is real, yeah.
Space is real, huh?
Did we land on the moon?
Yes, I do believe we landed on the moon. I believe there was things we'll probably never know involving the space moon landing. But we're supposedly going back, and I'm really excited for that because I think humanity needs to set their eyes like collectively towards a bigger goal.
Elon Musk sent one of his Teslas into space?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they got some cool stuff going on at SpaceX. And Neuralink, look into that one. That's really fascinating stuff. And they got what else? He's got Tesla, SpaceX. He's got what's his little startup company he started where he sold
Boring Company.
Yeah, the Boring Company. He sold flamethrowers.
That
was pretty cool. I wish I would have bought one in hindsight.
Dope.
But any other questions? All right, guys. Final question. Thanks to shout out to a fellow reporter by the name of Catherine Scott. Look out for her. She came up with this idea. She came up with a couple of them, actually. I came up with is the Earth round or flat because it's an interesting subject. But anyways, so to the question, Catherine recommended we ask the question to one another, what in a day makes you feel like the day was a success, like that you used your time wisely? Vic.
For me, I think it's just being productive. If I like have something to show for, like getting something done. Sometimes I feel like I've got a good day worth if I just stay at home and play video games. Like even though I didn't do anything all day, like if I'm like chatting with friends and stuff.
Oh, okay, I can I dig that.
Like I had a really fun time, like or just creating like a video and just having something to show for what I did that day.
Doing what you're passionate about, what your purpose is.
Like, it's weird, because I could do that, I could play video games and feel good about it, but then, like, there's some times where I just, like, go to work from 12 to 8, and then I just go home, and I just kind of feel like I just wasted my day.
Me too, yeah, I feel that way as well.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, it's, was I on my purpose that day? Was I doing the things I was passionate about? And that's the biggest ones. But for me, like if I just like am at home all day and I just go through the motions, watch movies, Netflix, play video games, whatever, I don't feel like I was on my purpose, and at the end of the day I feel like my time was wasted. So for me, going back to an earlier thing I said, I'm trying to be a 1% better version of myself every single day. So the only way you can do that is if you're really doing things that push you towards your goals. So for me, I like to have a full day where I spend a lot of time at Pierce College now. So I like to, have some time here at Pierce, whether it be school, whether it be work like what we're doing right now, podcast. And then following that, I like to get some time at the gym. And then after that, I like to, work, whatever it is, and then I like to close out with some relaxation, some me time, and that's always good to do as well. And I like to be able to squeeze in meals. That's a big one because a lot of times when you're a really busy guy like we are, then you don't get time to eat. But I like to just feel like I'm doing something productive so that at the end of the day I can look back and know I used my time wisely, so that one day when I'm 80 years old I don't look back with tons of regrets. Wishing I would have taken risks that I didn't take, things like that, because life's all about that. So.
Okay, thank you all for watching the Post Point Podcast. Join us this week for our Ford versus Ferrari review and our Wednesday video, and we'll see you then.